you know the thing when I come back by your name, you may say, Yato Barayachi share, the other Bawa Quim. Nayaton no car, we win Chumizi, no car, we win Chumizi. When you first say no car, you win. Nakayakana, Wanabaka, Nimum, so your Chimia could do, your pimp na your can call, Shrine Yanahua, or the Puntu, or the Ba, or the Abutoyim, or the Ba. Or the assembly or the then the main say in my yasha them jumiti many of the busy to the dead no quite win or said the year it's mamma for you gana for no on man paying another for the girl what it is then on ma gana for yet said that mamma ye the year basha for no when it's mamma for pa possibly citizens not spectators. This was a clarion call from His Excellency the President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the self-acclaimed competent president who is now will be exiting office in a few days. This is a presentation that we have dubbed the Bitter Truth Show. The Bitter Truth Show. Yes, truth is bitter, but when it is told, it brings a lot of comfort. It brings development, and we want to remind you that in the light of this, His Excellency the President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, on his swearing in, made a clarion call to the good people of Ghana that we should not be spectators, but instead let us all be citizens and not spectators. Even though it was acknowledged that it is what a plagiarized statement, but Ghanaians have accepted this, and thus is the reason we have dubbed this show the Bitter Truth Show, where we speak truth to power. It does not matter whatever that is happening, we want to speak truth about it, and this is the reason we will encourage our viewers and our followers to also share in the same objective with us. Today's presentation we have titled is, they said NBC must end the nonsense happening in our court. NBC must end judicial nonsense happening in our court. This is a statement that was made by a national communication team member belonging to the elected party, the National Democratic Congress. Is Esquire Lawyer Beatrice Annan has made a clarion call that the NBC at all costs, NBC must end judicial nonsense happening in our courts. And this is what we want to share our perspective on. And we are asking that, do you share in this statement that was made by Lawyer Beatrice Annan? That yes, if we take our judicial system, there are a lot of happenings that are taking place in our judicial system which does not inure to the benefit or the credibility and the high esteem that the general public should hold our judicial system to. In the light of this, Beatrice Annan is indicating that what is happening, the current happenings in our judicial system, when NBC is sworn into office, they must do everything possible to address this, and she described it as judicial nonsense, which is happening in our court must end. Zayawa Kanyebe, Oye Beatrice Annan, Oye Benyumi, our NDC Amayokuni. No, Oka one wakasa ma Oye NDC Amayokuni. During the campaign, Krampon, or one of the spokesperson for the vice president, the office of the vice president, Ose Sabi is a more kodo war a attend Edumakuni Minen, the NDC was the one to miss one answer. Upon Biado, Ose de NDC or de Sabi, them is a Muna kodo war attend Edumanumun. Wa to the judicial nonsense or ya said or ya share ma NDC Amayokuni de what there, meaning never what is you say about and you be sana pay there. And you never that Beatrice Annan or Canaan Ghana for do you agree that there are judicial nonsense happening in our judicial system that ought to be addressed, that ought to be taken care of? Anna and a year ago and Nana pay the nature for what you share for your Facebook wall not young cop main kitchen, some media Beatrice Annan okay.
Annie. And I want to sound a note of caution to the judiciary that those shenanigans that we experienced in the past 8 years, nobody will tolerate that again. That we all went to the same law school and we studied the same law. That they are not the only people who are so partisan and in a very disgusting manner that they will turn the court, which the people of Ghana have created for themselves as the last resort to please their political godfathers. We all know the facts that is leading us to this morning discussion. That collations were done, declarations were made, and Afenyo Markin, in his quest to be a micro-minority leader to save the party from an embarrassing sink, then goes to connive with Madame Jane Mensah, and then they say that they had to do a recollation.
Lawyer Beatrice Annan, a communication member for the National Democratic Congress. Our Good Morning Ghana Metro TV studio, no today. He's sounding a word of caution to those judges who perceive themselves as NPP proud judges, and they are turning the court system, playing politics in the court system. She is sounding a word of caution that the NDC party, when the party finally takes over the reins of government, what she described, Lawyer Beatrice Annan describes as judicial nonsense happening in the judicial system. NDC must have the courage to address what she described as judicial nonsense. And the question the Beatrice we are asking is that, do you agree with Beatrice Annan? Share your views with us. Drop your comment on the comment section. Let us know whether you share in this argument. She was making this in relation to recent judgments with regard to the constituency brouhaha, election brouhaha, where a court, a judge has ruled or directed the electoral commission to go and recollate the result of those disputed 9 constituency results. In addressing that in Morocco, such as the judicial system now, that is what she is describing as judicial nonsense. And she is calling on NDC that when they finally take power, they must do everything to address this judicial, her so-called judicial nonsense. Let's say, also, Gary Nimako or Jamaica, with some local courts. The judge in the cycle hurriedly come up for the Ozibua seminar on in the 1 year Beatrice Annan Dawa or Assam.
This is where I want to sound a note of caution to the judiciary and those MPP appendages who describe themselves as judges. See, there should be a limit to some levels of unconscionability. See, the judge who sat on the case is called Reverend Justice Joseph Edu Owusu Ajaman. His position as a judge was lobbied for him by Gary Nimako. In fact, he is a friend to Gary Nimako. They have pictures together. Gary Nimako is not the only lawyer who has judges as friends. We all have judges as friends. We sat in classes with people who have become judges today. We have even senior judges who are our friends. Some we even invite you to their parties and whatever. But then there has to be a line drawn when it comes to you exercising judicial authority. That is why it is called judicial authority. First of all, Gary Nimako went to court on an application for judicial review. There is nowhere again that an application for judicial review is done ex parte. without notice to all interested parties.
Yeah.
Then again, Gary Nimako appeared before his friend, who is a judge, nominated and appointed by the NPP, and moved an application for judicial review, where the other side was not put on notice.
After the reasons she was citing, the reasons Arakade said what she's describing as judicial nonsense happening in our judicial system, in our courts, and when NBC finally takes over, they must do everything possible to end what she is describing as judicial nonsense. Also, Gary Nimako filing for those disputed 9 constituency results, she went before a court, a judge on Gary Nimako or alleged there, Dom Nimako Gary, Anna, then Olobi man, Opem ma, Abani, Obaya, Dami judge, promoting Vinoko, the positioner na our. Neda minti, ase, bra, Gary Nimako, ye nagindo that some local court or Chedara court, Minyam Konan no courts, them Robaya will be that some man. And according to Beatrice Annan, I will also in there, the judge in Reverend Justice Joseph Edu Usha Jimana. Also, the Asamanan of far attention. Kona odaho pepper yedem osaden and ka offer do no did that samanan no and justice Reverend Justice Joseph Edu Owusajiman offer do no odidi asamanan onam the one for a panana other one in Oma Beatrice Annan no oraka said there. These are some of the reasons she is describing as judicial nonsense. There judges binima aban amampeni na na kwa kofodo ba onya MPP aban e promote one the one akaya judges nene them the way case instead of the offer kwana the wodo the was the big some pepper no kwano do nene one for the mukwana do no one thing that some nene as a result of that they continue to give wrong judgment in favor of their chronics, and that is what Beatrice Annan, lawyer Esqa, is describing as what? Judicial nonsense. And that was the reason she was giving that warning to those perceived judges who aligned themselves to the governing New Patriotic Party. The cases appear before them, instead of them using the right judicial system, the fairness in them, they continue to demonstrate their affiliation to the governing New Patriotic Party, and they are doing their bidding. And that is what Lawyer Beatrice Annan, a national NBC communication team member, described as judicial nonsense. And she is urging her party that when they finally take reins of government, all those judicial nonsense must be addressed. And the bitter truth, we are asking that, do you share in her opinion? Do you agree with her? Do you also see that yes, there is judicial nonsense happening in our judicial system? And can you describe the happenings in our court system as judicial nonsense? And or you have any other way that you will describe? Do you share in Beatrice Annan's opinion? Do you agree that yes, there are some of these excesses happening in our court system that must be addressed? And
as if that were not enough, even if the other side was not put on notice, the NDC filed a joinder application and said that you have not put us on notice, but we have heard that these people have come to you ex parte, which is in flagrant breach of the laws. And that's what Kwame Akufu, who is an MPP person, Kwame Akufu is not, he's even related to President Akufo-Addo. So you are not more action from Chebi than he is. But it is so disgusting and nauseating that it ought to end somewhere. This impunity certainly has to. How do you justify that the judiciary should not be cleaned with all these things happening? Who who can make a justification that judges should not be touched? Because there has to be a limit to some level of nonsense, if I should put it. There has to be a limit to it. And then and you see, service goes to jurisdiction. We've made this point here over and over. And so to the extent that the other party was not even put on notice, you ought not to have proceeded. Now the other party even brought to your notice that we have filed a joinder, so that if they will not put us on notice, please join us. You didn't even mind them.
Yate, Beatrice Annan, Lawyer Beatrice Annan, forcefully making her case again, explaining, giving justification, reasons why she's describing what the judge did with regard to the ruling of the disputed land constituency that was filed before that judge, Reverend Justice Joseph Edu Owusu-Agyemang, and the way he presided over the case. Anna Beatrice Annan was explaining, this nonsense must give way. Those were the reasons. All sides to the look. Abira nan cause there. MPP will court and will notify the NBC for because that is the laid down procedure. Now so want to why and then NBC for what say when you are there was one court and Gary I filed a case against those 9 disputed constituencies now. We declare Binimina. What quiet there, what the word one and the judge refused. And this is what she is describing. Judge needs the other attention on the wrong word procedures in all the case in favor of them directing the electoral commissions that one collation. And these are the things now Beatrice Annan described as judicial nonsense. And to her opinion and such judicial nonsense for the past 8 years under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the self-acclaimed competent president, there are so many excesses that has occurred in judicial processes. In some cases, abandoning party, especially the elected party, Fuwa community, not the way what for the reason of freedom. Look, all these things on Koye. If you remember, Kendapa at a point the catcher judges the Ghana bar there one head the way the cases on the ma it can lead to security implications for the country. It can break the peace of this country. That was Kendapa, an interior minister, a minister of defense. Okay, now here, now how profile now some are not kind. These are things that are falling into the perception now, and these are the reasons now Beatrice Annan record NBC must end judicial nonsense happening in our courts. And the bitter truth we are asking, do you agree with her assertion that yes, there are judicial nonsense happening in our judicial system? And remember, the show you are watching is the Bitter Truth Show. Asama, you will be saying, this is the simple question the Bitter Truth is asking. Do you agree that there are judicial excesses, there are judicial nonsense happening in our courts, and that must end? And that he is calling on NBC that when NBC takes over, hey, every well-meaning citizens with the good conscience, with clear conscience, cannot disagree with her. True, Beatrice Annan, this is what she is saying. They're looking at the happenings in our court system, and look, every right-thinking citizens of Ghana will agree with what she is saying, that there are excesses in the judicial system that can be described as judicial nonsense. Now, no, the danger to the Ghanaian society. Let's listen to her.
Let them have their day, and let them have their NPP members who they have appointed into the judiciary. Let the judges who are friends with lawyers take applications from lawyers who are their friends as if they were taking a memo. Because what this judge did is as if Gary sent him a WhatsApp. As for Gary, he even has, he is known for sending WhatsApp and things to judges and things. That's another matter. You should read the expertise in that of how judges describe Gary Limakum. I don't think any judge has described a lawyer in that despicable manner. These guys simply lack conscience. And what I want to say is that we have a plan for the MPP. We would not behave like them. We will not be arrogant and use judicial power and appoint party people and destroy state institutions like they did. Because we are mindful that when people vote for you and in excess of 1.7 million votes for you, it is a valid expectation that President Mahama and the NDC will clean the judiciary, will clean the Electoral Commission, will clean state institutions that ought to have been performing their functions that have been excessively made partisan, that citizens cannot get remedy until they show a certain party card. Today we are discussing the EC. Today we are discussing the judiciary. Ask them. One of the reasons why they lost was that their own appointees were charging party people 20,000, 15,000 to get them positions into military and police recruitment. Something that in the past used to be free. These guys have excessively made partisan that citizens cannot get remedy until they show a certain party card. Today we are discussing the EC. Today we are discussing the judiciary. We would not behave like them. We will not be arrogant and use judicial power and appoint party people and destroy state institutions like they did. Because we are mindful that when people vote for you and in excess of 1.7 million votes for you, it is a valid expectation that President Mahama and the NDC will clean the judiciary, will clean the Electoral Commission, will clean state institutions that ought to have been performing their functions that have been excessively made partisan, that citizens cannot get remedy until they show a certain party card. Today we are discussing the EC. Today we are discussing the judiciary. Ask them. One of the reasons why they lost was that their own appointees were charging party people 20,000, 15,000 to get them positions into military and police recruitment. Something that in the past used to be free. These guys have corrupted the system so much that when you talk about corruption, they can't even tell the difference between corruption and the normal things.
Also, Beatrice Annan say, "Sir, after MPP for binu, one lawyer is binu. To say be a outside example there, Gary, other assembly court and we are in a habit of sending messages to judges. What's in some hand the one cases. Some cases when you want it in common, when you want to share all your information, text messages in look, that was what Beatrice Annan was alleging to on the show. That if the means are made record, it doesn't help the judicial system. The judicial image on Koye, it does not augur well for the image of the judicial system in the country. I say it is the responsibility of the NDC government to clean the judiciary. I say it is the responsibility of the NDC governing party to clean the judiciary. Beatrice Annan, lawyer, a member of the National Communication Team member for the elected National Democratic Congress Party, at Metro TV, good morning, Ghana. So the Lawyer Beatrice Annan is declaring that it behoves on the NBC administration that when they take over, they must do everything possible to clean the judicial system. Things she's alleging to be alleged judicial nonsense must end under NBC. And especially she was alleging there some judges who she described as NPP appendage judges also carry the her or share message. Some of those judges they receive messages from the MPP lawyers as if they were taking memo. And if all this happenings taking place, happening in the judicial system, and these are the reasons, NBC must clean the judicial system. Also, the judicial system, it is important that Mahama will clean the system. Electoral Commission will be clean, and all state institutions are on Mampini, Nana de Danko Akufa de Baubia, NPP, Abani, one appendage to the party into the service that ought to be rendered to the good people of this country, to the citizens of this country. No 1 year, or say, do what to Abba, Zema, NBC, Amayuku, John Dramani Mahama, led the ni Professor Jenana Opoku Ajimana as Vice President elect. The responsibility on them. They cannot afford to let the millions of Ghanaian citizens who voted for them to be disappointed. On maintaining it behoves on the NDC government to clean the judicial system, to clean the electoral commission, to clean all state institutions that has been made partisanship, polarized on partisan line. They are even forgetting their core mandate, the responsibility, the discharge that they have to the good people of the country. Because Annan is calling on the NDC that look, they cannot afford to disappoint the millions of Ghanaians who voted for them. So NDC must clean the judicial system. They must clean the electoral commission, and they must clean the state institutions. One way for Juma also the ones in it. Also look, as for NDC, when you talk about the corruption, look, we go on a day, BB. Corruption will go today, proper, going on our cotton that is port home. Also, corruption has smeared MPP like a pig, meddling in the mud. This is how Lawyer Beatrice Annan, also MPP, with corruption there. Hey, they are like something. Corruption, look, with MPP, it's beyond comprehensible. It's beyond comprehension. Look, you can't even understand. And I can't think far. I can't think far. Also, Katasha, Poe can Kanye MPP Amayu Kuze. Also, look, one hour one for Sakonya, but I wasn't for or yes, show them police and fire service, prison service, immigration. Also, so what can the Mawana one party for? Or you 20,000 and no one can count. I want one party for what I can. Even more so when they before what to a bit here. Or yeah, the MPP party in it. Now the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, me the arrogant Napo, what in it, then a photo a bit here one as a protest angry vote. A demonstration of a protest and anger in order to about it here one. A summer between Annan and Ose, NBC must clean the judicial system. And we are simply asking, do you agree with her and her team?
Today, under the NPP, party foot soldiers have become judges. I can mention it. Justice Gau was a parliamentary. That is the level of lowness. And you see, it's so annoying that I'm even trying to contain myself this morning sitting here. And I want to send a note of caution that the nonsense the NDC tolerated in the past, we will not tolerate. That if anybody thinks that they can use judicial power to abuse anybody or summon anybody or do things which will be to the benefit of one party and not in consonance with the constitution, we will also use the same constitution to advise ourselves. Because after all, when the MPP said they are JMI, they have seen that the real owners of the Omai are there. That they have the voters who have embarrassed them in a manner that by this time, I'm sure Baomia can't even figure his way around. He's so rejected. He's so unattractive to the Ghanaian people that these are some of the things they should be doing to even attract the few people. Joseph Baomia is so, I mean, how? Judges today, under the NPP, party foot soldiers have become judges. I can mention it, Justice Gau.
Ate, Lawyer Beatrice Annan say, under Nana Adedampa Akufo-Addo, Baumia NPP administration, also party foot soldiers simple. No one by a judge so. Party foot soldiers, indeed, the party soldiers, according to her, may understanding and what she's saying and influence. The party soldiers by judges that, then you can imagine what the judicial system is becoming. And these are the reasons also that NBC must clean judicial nonsense happening in our courts. These are the basis in she is saying that NBC cannot afford to fail, must have the courage to clean what she described as judicial nonsense happening in our courts. And the bitter truth show, we're asking, do you agree with Beatrice Annan that there are happenings in the judicial system that needs cleanup, that demand a cleanup, and this is the bitter truth show. Remember, the show you are watching is the bitter truth show. How do you mean that? Nidin Aranyum no car win Jumedi. You know, pay for say no car oil Naka yakana wanabaka, but say you could be na yakano culture yanawa or zimpunchu or zoba or the asumge or zoba or the Z or zoba. Gimiza referendum. Nidin Aranyu no court room Jimmy. Yada say, they number after Jimmy. Kaide Jimmy, Nidin no court. I won't see in the education Jimmy the Bawakum. Yes, in your main crowd, non green feet is sending your name. Copy my bra, yes, and yet Jimmy for no court room Jimmy Bawakum. Remember, the show is the bitter truth show. Thank you for spending your credit to watch this show. You are the reason we bring this show. It is unadulterated, bitter truth show. Stay blessed. May God watch over you till we come your way with another unadulterated, authentic, bitter truth show. We say goodbye.